All right, we're going to talk about the Area 51 Facebook group. I'm sure that everyone listening has heard about this because it's so big. But last month, a Facebook group was created called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Its description read, "We will all meet up at the Area 51 Alien Center tourist attraction and coordinate our entry. If we Naruto run, we can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens."
Not true.
And at the time of this recording, the number of attendees scheduled to appear at this event is nearing 1.5 million. It's actually, I only checked this morning, it probably surpassed 1.5 million. Seemingly every news publication has covered this Facebook page. The event creators maintain that the whole thing is a joke, meant to establish a new forum for alien, UFO, and conspiracy theory memes, rather than a genuine effort to break into a heavily guarded military base. And it certainly has generated a lot of memes. It seems like at least five memes are uploaded to the page every minute. It's amazing, by the way. This is actually my favorite thing that's happened on the internet in a while. But so last week we were talking about how Google censorship, we were talking about Google censorship or YouTube censorship, and I believe it was you, Alec, you mentioned that you understand that Google doesn't want to be in the business of determining whether or not something is a joke.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that it's forcing the U.S. military to do just that, to see if they can recognize where a joke starts and where the serious, crazy people ends. And I think that whenever you're bringing a, quote unquote, very serious, straight-faced institution that is, elevates itself above the inane, crazy, nihilistic internet culture and subjecting them to your sense of humor, it's very satisfying.
Yeah, well, the Army's response was, "This is a terrible idea. We will shoot you."
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't actually have to determine, because they'll determine when they see if people are running towards Area 51, in which case they will shoot. Because the minute they start to do it, it is no longer a joke.
How many people do you think are actually going to show up?
None. Maybe.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, but that's like, there's always maybe like some unwell people. Yeah, especially maybe unwell people who don't fully understand it's a
really
joke.
See, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that there are going to be some ironic internet people who are just going to go regularly. Like, they're just going to go and see the tourist attraction like any other patron. But because this event has some sort of legendary status, they'll just want to be able to say, "I went on September 20th, 2019.
Do you think like the person that went to Joshua Tree for the profile picture, they'll get a flight to Area 51, they'll pose for doing the run pose, and then immediately leave?
No, I don't think that person's more into like The Bachelor, but not into like 4chan deep nihilistic.
No, I'm not saying this person, but I'm
meme.
saying other people are going to fly there to take the profile picture of them doing the run.
I don't know if they need to do that on that exact date and increase their chances of being shot, but I think people are going to be doing that. But maybe not. There's a good chance that by September 19th, all this could be blown over and everyone's forgotten about it and it's old news.
Yeah.
So I also think that there's a sense of collective accomplishment for internet people in forcing government institutions and the news media to recognize the kind of nihilistic despair that these memes operate on. Because I think one of the very essential things as to why this is funny is because it's a suicide mission.
Right. And then the joke is, are we really joking or are we that depressed?
Yeah. Can you put up one of the memes, the depressed Area 51 memes?
That's its own folder.
Yeah, that's its own folder. So this is one, the Cat in the Hat is coming behind a kid with a baseball bat, and the kid has text over him saying Area 51 thinking this is a joke, and the Cat in the Hat has text over him saying millennials and Gen Z's willingness to die. So this made me, here's another one. This is a meme somebody posted. It's just text over black that says, "Area 51 will either be the most successful government takeover of all time or the biggest fucking graveyard home to the bravest Americans with the IQ of a straw. Either way, the memes will be fire."
Yeah.
So
fire emoji, fire emoji.
This made me just think more about just shit posting in general.
Yeah.
And just, so what is shit posting? I think the best definition from Urban Dictionary I was able to find is it's an ironic art form of expressive yet apathetic fun posting. And then there's an article in Surface Magazine by Gustavo Turner who adds to this definition by saying that they're used to confuse, derail meaning, and entertain. There's another great quote from Turner. He says, "What is a shit post if not a pointless, carnivalesque attack against meaning itself?" Like every aesthetic that draws from the absurd, like Dadaism, Surrealism, Situationism, punk, shitposting is ultimately a cry of despair against impending disaster.
This reminds me of I've always considered him as the most wholesome troll on the internet, but Ken M, if there's any fans listening, do you know who Ken M is?
No.
He will just usually troll brands on Facebook with, it's like a very confused boomer on the internet is this persona, and ask questions like, my oven won't turn on, GE, can you help me? But his oven is full of magazines. And they'll say, you shouldn't do that, it's fire hazard. And they're like, fine, I took them out. And then they're like over an open flame.
Nice.
And just other very dumb, great, just there's a Ken M subreddit. It can explain, I'm not fully prepared to discuss Ken M. But I think to your point about nihilism, there is something interesting there.
Yeah, it's a kind of bizarre free therapy for millennials and Gen Zers. And I also think there's an element of it being a reaction against a world where seemingly all content is sponsored content. And shitposting memes are deliberately non-monetizable. They can't be co-opted by Ritas or by any kind of corporate sponsor.
Well, no, but they sort of can. So this is the whole thing with brand Twitter reappropriate. Like Denny's got really nihilist for a while, or even the Sunny D being like, I'm not okay.
I guess the question that I want to ask is, why is depression a part of the counterculture now?
Serby, what do you think?
I think that this reminds me of some of the stuff in high school where it would be like the depressed emo kids would,
They're all grown up.
they're all grown up and these are their children. I think more than they sort of see it as like a badge of honor or something that's like cool and trendy, and it gives them, I don't know, makes them distinct in some way.
So one of our patrons on our Discord sent us a link about e-girls. You know what e-girls are? This kind of wraps into this whole discussion.
Yeah, they're ironic. It's electronic girl, not emo girl, but they kind of seem emo.
Yeah.
They'll often have like a teardrop tattoo or drawing under their eye. They kind of look like scene girls.
Yeah.
Just to give everyone the basic definition, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the Urban Dictionary definition is an e-girl is a species of emo usually found on TikTok, but commonly spends time on Tumblr. Can be found wearing pink eyeshadow with a large wig, little hearts under their eyes, and a blush nose, normally wearing some type of shirt from Urban Outfitters or a long-sleeve striped shirt. And these e-girls or e-boys tend to romanticize and joke about things such as anxiety and depression, making it seem cool to be mentally ill. And yeah,
I will
like,
say,
is it that if you're not mentally, I used to think this. I used to think that if you weren't depressed, it's because of lack of awareness, a lack of awareness of how horrible the world is. I don't know if I still believe that, but do you think that that's one of the reasons why mental illness is, I don't know if it's considered cool. I don't think anyone explicitly says like, oh man, you listen to that person, he's mentally healthy, what a fucking tool. Like, I don't think it's quite like that, but I do think that there is a romanticization of people dealing with depression or mental illness.
I was watching this thing the other day that used the phrase "the future is canceled," which says that this is in the context of how culture has there. The idea was if you go from the 50s to if you drop someone from 1950 into 1960s music, they'll be like, what is this? This is completely new. But if you drop someone from 2010 to today, they would mostly understand the music that was happening. Maybe not mumble rap, but the idea is that we're not really culturally progressing because we're just making Lion King remakes all day. Now this is culturally, but I also think think about on a technological level. In the 60s, we went to the moon. That's the 50th anniversary. We just saw that. And now we can barely get into space. I mean, I know we're sending up satellites and doing all these things, but it just seems like technologically, economically, scientifically, we don't have a whole lot going on. So I think you can certainly find examples. And it's a claim I want to think critically of it, but I think overall, just the idea that we are not progressing anymore. Now, we may be progressing in some ways, but I often think the ways we're progressing is that Facebook is making a ton of money, and that is a lot different than putting people on the moon or going to Mars. The point is that I think this nihilism from shitposting and e-girls comes from a fact that we're not a very hopeful society anymore, because whether or not it's true, we feel like we're not progressing, the future's canceled, whatever. And also, at record rates, people are experiencing anxiety, depression. So it's not that anxiety and depression are cool. It's just that all these kids are anxious and depressed, and therefore we make like macabre jokes about it.